Hi, I'm Susan Papp, Susan Sterling Papp, and we're here, Kayla and I are here to share our history of North Hill. I have been in North Hill for 48 years. I was pregnant with my second child when the realtor lady brought us into North Hill on Oakland Avenue. I knew nothing about North Hill because I am from East Akron, Goodyear Heights. But this realty lady brought us to this beautiful, beautiful house in Oakland, on Oakland, and I'm still there. That was in 1967. So my story begins in 1967, but my friend here, her story goes back to babyhood. So she's going to tell her story first.
Well, my name is Kayla Myers-Lutz, and when I was 13 months old, my family moved on what is now Sackett Hills Drive. At the time, it was called Zyzik Road. This street runs parallel to Cauga Street near the Cauga Valley National Park. And that's where I pretty much grew up. The first 13 and a half years of my life was spent there. And it was a gravel street for most of the time, for the first 10 years. It was a gravel street. We had a cistern for water, and we had coal and kerosene for heat. And there was 3 families at the time that lived on the street. And then a man by the name of Mr. Smead bought the property up and lotted it off and started selling it and building homes. At that point in time, the street changed names too. That's when it became Sackett Hills Drive. And I went to school back then. We didn't have to go to kindergarten. And since I had to take the bus into town to go to school, I went to Finley School for all 6 years, from first grade through 6th grade. And then I went to Jennings for 2 years. And then my family moved to Talmadge, which was the 5 worst years of my life. So as soon as I turned 18, I came back to North Hill. And I've been here ever since, and lived in 2 apartments. And then in '72, we purchased our house on Patterson, and we've been there ever since. And I just have always liked the neighborhood, It was one of those things. I always said you couldn't give me a house in Talmadge.
Well, I remember you saying that what you liked about North Hill is back in the day, all the kids in the neighborhood having their time and fun outside.
Oh, yeah, it was, that's what I hope to see again is kids playing in the neighborhood. And because my kids always had a good time, they were always out on their bikes and with all the kids in the neighborhood and stuff like that. And in recent years, some of that has changed. But in the last year, believe it or not, in the last year, I have seen kids outside playing.
Well, I live on a block that has 20 houses on it. I figured it out last night. And out of the 20 houses, there is only one house with kids in it. And that house is across the street from me, and they are not allowed, evidently, I don't know, evidently they're not allowed outside unless their dad or their mother is with them.
Oh,
And-
that's true.
And I understand, my neighbors told me that their backyard is all kid-friendly, and that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
they
It's
hang
a
out.
nice-
They're in the driveway, but that dad cuts his grass, and when he's finished, they're back in the house. I'd like to say one thing. I would like to say that what attracted me, being that I wasn't from North Hill, Oakland was this pristine, beautiful, tree-lined brick street. And I didn't know it, but it's only a block east of North Main Street. North Main Street had every convenience service store you would ever need. It had, you could say them, tailors. It had barber shops. It had beauty shops. The best bakery that's still there, Crest.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you needed a sweeper or vacuum cleaner, you needed a glass mirror, you needed a glass window replacement, everything was on North Main Street where I moved to. I loved it.
What's nice about the bakery is a North High alumni purchased
Oh, yeah. I
Crest
heard-
Bakery.
Oh, yeah, my kids know him. That's
Yeah,
right.
he's from North High School.
Yeah.
That purchased it, which I think is great that somebody, that grew up on the hill,
Well, when I was working, this one fellow was new into Akron, and he says, I got to find the title bureau. Where is it? I said, you're not going to believe it. And he said, if you tell me that's in North Hill, I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, it is. It's on Talmadge Avenue. That's the title bureau. Oh, and then the Acme, too, was there on the corner of
Oh,
Oakland.
it always took me
And
a
the
lo-
North Hill Library's right there on
Yeah.
Oakland.
Yeah, we have a lot of conveniences on North Hill in the schools and everything. And that's what's sad to say right now. And I really think the system that only reports what the state puts out about the schools is undermining our school system, especially like on North Hill, because a lot of families don't want to move to Akron or North Hill because of the reports they get from the state of Ohio about the schools. And it shows the Akron schools as failing schools, and they're not failing schools. It was about 10 years ago. I read the Beacon Journal every morning, cover to cover. And it was about 10 years ago, there was a little tiny article buried in the middle of the Beacon Journal, and U.S. News and World Report picked the 10 best schools in the United States, and North High School was on the list of one of the 10 best schools in the whole country for educating all children, whether they have disabilities or what have you. And there's been a lot of people that have graduated from North High School that, became nurses, like my one daughter. I know a couple of doctors personally that was raised on North Hill. A lot of professional people. They got good educations. And my kids, my youngest two, are 33. And they graduated in 99 from there. And I don't have enough good to say about North High School. And
Well,
our children, Craig and Donna, graduated. They were in the graduating class of 100. Yeah. So it's been around that long.
Well, you know that North Hill now has, I think, 500 refugees in our neighborhood. It's just wonderful to see them in their native garb walking on Talmadge Avenue, Cuyahoga Falls Avenue. And those students are in our grade schools and in our high school. And I saw last year's valedictorian had to have been
Yeah, she's Asian. Yeah.
an Asian person. I understand they're from
Nepal.
Nepal. Thanks, yeah, Nepal
In Bhutan.
and Bhutan.
Yeah.
And I've been taking articles over to the International Institute for their homes to set up housekeeping or their clothing. Yeah, I noticed that they will excel at North High School, I'm sure.
Well,
and Findlay.
Right. In Finley School,
They're
yeah.
at Findlay. Harris is being rebuilt eventually. So, but I wanted to say that I did in my 20 house research. I wanted to bring it out, make a point that today, 11 of the houses are the original neighbors from when I moved there. And then 10 of the neighbors' houses are only 10 of them have new neighbors in them. So my street is very, very stable. I have to bring it up that, of course, we know that North Hill was infamous for the Italian community at one point. But by the time I got there in '67, we only had 3 Italian families on that block of Oakland. And I have to say this, I'm sorry to say this, that it used to be, oh, you live on Oakland, it's beautiful. Well, today we're saying block by block, we're measuring and evaluating streets in my neighborhood. One block could be, oh, it's nice. You got the good, but it's too bad it's that way now.
Well, in 72, and I mentioned this just recently, in 1972 when we bought our house, I would walk through my neighborhood because it was still predominantly Polish and Italian.
Oh, yeah, by
And I'd
that
walk
church.
through the neighborhood and couldn't understand a thing anybody was saying. And I says, well, I guess it's come full circle because we have a lot of the Asians. And now I walk through my neighborhood
Oh, yeah.
and I still can't understand a thing anybody's saying. And it's just really crazy. And her son and my daughter live right around the corner from me. And what was a Donatelli house for years and years now has a family of Asians living there, and they're very curious. We were having a cookout, and the little girl come crawling from underneath and wanted to play with the dog, and the mother came and was asking questions, about what we were doing and stuff. And it's just, I just think we're coming full circle, and instead of the Italian immigrants, now we have the Asian immigrants, and we just need to embrace the change and make improvements.
I do too. Her daughter, Donna, wrote and texted in Facebook about how that for the first time her neighbor is friendly. The other ones across the street aren't that friendly, and they're native from the hill. And here these family that moved into Donatelli's house is very, very friendly, and Donna's enjoying their company. And the little boy is coming over and talking with her daughter, which is great. I have to say, Donna's what I visited a family on Elma. I took them a special jacket that I didn't want to stick in the clothes bag for the institute. It was Chinese silk kimono. And the family invited me in and was very cordial to me. It gave me some delicious tea. Oh, it was so good. I don't know what, it was a milky cinnamon kind of tea. And I asked the man of the house is a teacher at International Institute, and the mother of the house is a seamstress, and she got a job somewhere in Portage County, and then their children go to Findlay grade school. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know what else we can say, but there is a lot of history.
And maybe you should talk about back in the day when.
Well, there's still a lot of landmarks, and there on Talmadge Avenue, across or in front of North High School. Actually, there's an Italianate home there before you get to the newer brick ranches. And about 15 years ago, it was listed for sale, and it was the first time that it was ever out of the original owner's hands. It had been passed down for generation to generation. And I was trying to purchase the house, so I investigated the house. And that particular house, the people that lived there owned everything from where North High School is clear down to Main Street, and they had several businesses. And where North High School is used to be a brick plant, and they manufactured bricks there. And they built the home out of the bricks from their brick plant.
Oh yeah, because there's a whole string of brick houses on
Right,
Talmadge
and those
Avenue. My
and the
son
brick
was
and
in
the
one.
brick came from the brick plant where North High School is. Well, North High School originally was Jennings.
Okay.
The first classes out of North High School was Jennings. And it goes. That's where you get the 100 years, because the high school is not 100 years old. But when the Depression hit, the family lost everything except for that house. And there were several generations of family that owned it, and finally they decided, the last generation that owned it decided to sell it. And it was built in 1984. No, 1884. 1884. And so it's been there for a long, long time, and the history on
It's
it was
beautiful. I know the last house before
Yeah.
the parking lot.
the Italianate, yeah. It's the big one. And the history with the people there. And all the stores, now you're seeing all these Asian stores. It used to be the Italian stores.
Okay.
The building where Advanced Climate Control is, there by the freeway, was owned by an Italian family. And mom and dad lived downstairs in an apartment. The two sons and their families each had an apartment upstairs. And then the space to the side by the freeway was a grocery store.
Okay.
And they owned all the land into the middle of where the freeway now is. So, there's a lot of these buildings that have changed because of progress. So they lost land. And
You can tell which houses were stores at one time. There's one on
Yeah.
Iuka that's definitely was a grocery store at one time, and today it's been divided into apartments.
And the families lived upstairs.
Yes.
Even my house, when we bought it, there was a kitchen in my attic.
Ah,
Crazy place for a kitchen. But, originally families lived together like they're doing now. Maybe like a sister and a brother, and their families would live on different floors of the house. And that's what I saw, that, they had a kitchen in the attic.
I met, there was a fella at my work that his family lived above Luigi's when he was a tiny, tiny little boy. And that's where you did. You lived above the store that you rented.
And the
above.
Medios did that too. I remember before they built on, and I was in high school, we used to go there, and the cousins and the sisters and the brothers and mom and dad and everybody, they lived upstairs and they made their pizzas downstairs.
Oh, and then this other piece that's sticking out now, that's
That's a new
That's in
addition.
the
But that
addition.
original
Oh,
brick house
is-
right there,
was
yeah.
the pizza shop.
It was
Okay.
their house and the pizza shop. So it was, you can pick house by house or building by building like that, and just dig. There's a lot of history.
What was your favorite thing about Northville?
My favorite? Well, everybody was friendly. My kids had a good time. My kids will be the first to tell you that it was a great place to grow up. And even our grandsons grew up on
Went to North.
North High School. And
We have a park in North Hill called Patterson Park. It's on Patterson Avenue. And you taught ceramics there. I went to Mother Singers there and Tops, if anybody knows what that is. And our kids played baseball through Patterson Park Baseball League.
right, yeah, we coached, and we were part of the
So
hot stove and everything.
we
with-
were, that was a great park that was made available. Remember the ballets that they brought in the summertime? They would bring in a swimming pool, a portable swimming pool at one time.
And it would be nice to see some of the stuff come back to North Hill that we used to have. We used to have the ballet down
Down in the bowl, they
down
called
in the,
it.
we called it the bowl.
Yeah, 'cause
And
Steep hill down.
but you could sit on the hillside and watch the ballet, and they'd have the orchestra, the Akron Orchestra would play there
Symphony.
and stuff, and then all of a sudden, everything disappeared from North Hill. I used to take my kids there every summer to watch the ballet. That was
A big deal.
it
That
was a good time.
exciting, Yeah.
and the park was it's different. The park system is different. They don't offer what they did to the kids like they used to. And some of that stuff needs to change to draw the new families and stuff. And they do need to, I think the schools are key to revitalizing North Hill. Schools are always the key because, and they need to,
They need to bring Harris School back and get it built there on across from
well,
Swenson's.
but you need the families to fill it. And the way I think they need to do is they need to put in the Beacon Journal and maybe on the signage in front of North High School, they need to let everybody know the good things that happen on North Hill instead of the bad things. That's all you hear is the bad things. It used to be when our kids went to North High School, that sign right there by the freeway, if a child, received the manhood or womanhood award, they put their name up there, and that was a big deal. Or the Chrysler Award. Now you see nothing. They don't put the valedictorian's name on the sign for everybody to see. They don't put anybody that wins any
sorry.
awards.
Yeah.
And how do people know that these are good schools and there are kids that are achieving and doing great? What happens is we've got this group of kids that are underachievers, and they pull our scores down, and that's all they see.
Well, I'm telling you, this new population that's going to be there, I just hope that they are not influenced to try to become Americanized by the ones that shouldn't be being the influential ones. That worries me. When I was a young mom with kids going to grade school, I became involved with the PTA there and met a lot of the neighbor ladies, the parents, families. We had block parties. We would have picnics and block off the street that you lived on from one corner to the next, and everybody came out and brought their potlucks, and we had lots of good memories of neighborhood gatherings for the kids and for the parents too. Everybody looked forward to that annual block party and picnics and so on in our neighborhood.